Hi, English 110. Happy Friday afternoon. It's Professor Sasso. I feel like I haven't checked in with you in a bit, and so I wanted to make sure that I did today for sure. I know that we're nearing the end of the semester and things are getting busy in your lives, probably in lots of different ways, not just this class. But I want to make sure that you have all of the tools you need to finish English 110 successfully. So I wanted to make sure I checked in today before the weekend. You're going to see some new materials posted. There's going to be a folder which I should have up by the end of the afternoon that is really kind of what's left in English 110 all in one place. There's not much left, obviously, other than the big integrated research essay. But if you've been doing your work all along, you're in really good shape because we're taking those 3 separate sections and we are bringing them together. We're making them a cohesive whole. Taking headings off and working on transitions between sections, and then we're writing a conclusion. Originally, I had planned that we would, the conclusion would be its own separate essay, essay 4 as it's been referred to, but essay 4 is actually, we're gonna just integrate that right into your draft for your research essay. So you're not going to actually write a whole new essay for essay 4 to do your conclusion and resolution. You're actually going to put your whole draft together, be able to look at it as a whole, as you did on the discussion board this week, and then you're going to write 2 pages that are your conclusion, that you've drawn a conclusion, you've found a resolution, you've offered a solution, whatever it might be. So you don't have to write an essay 4 is kind of what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way. It will be integrated into your research essay draft. So if you've stayed caught up in the class, what you have left is the revision of essay 3, which is due this week, to do a peer review for essay 3 if you haven't already done that. I think that was last week, right? Yeah. And then to also give some comments to one of your peers' integrated research essays. And these drafts were in their very basic format. I just said kind of put it together and let's see what some things start to look like once you do that. What's going to be available to you this afternoon is really a really good guide sheet on what to do with that draft now that it's all in one place. So it talks about making sure you have the right content in the draft, so that you've moved somehow from informative information, essential information we need to know about the conflict, into some type of compare contrast where you talk about the major arguments, into the consequence section, which you're revising right now. And then finally, it tells you kind of how this conclusion piece needs to be set up. What I'm asking is you kind of spend those last 2 pages, once you've reviewed everything you've researched and written so far, saying, okay, what are some of the most relevant arguments from each side? Let's highlight those one more time, because it gives us an idea of, all right, this is the polar opposites that these sides are on, and they both have really good points. So before we start to say, how are these sides going to start meeting in the middle, we kind of have to see where they are again. So the conclusion asks you to do that first, to highlight some of the most relevant arguments from each side. And then it asks you to talk briefly about, all right, if we don't find a resolution to this conflict that you've been talking about all semester, what will happen? And we have to kind of know to some extent that a resolution is necessary, or some moving forward point is necessary. So I ask you to write a little bit about, just one body paragraph about what will happen if we don't find a resolution. And then the last 2 body paragraphs are about what can we do? How can we move forward? I'm not expecting you to offer these resolutions that are going to solve all the problems of the world, but we're at a stuck point. Conflict is a stuck point. It means that the sides aren't working together to move forward. So I'm asking you to write 2 paragraphs where you offer some type of movement forward for your topic. And you might have that information. You may have in your research discovered that people are already talking about that for your topic. If you don't, you might still need to go back out and find some support for what we should do about it. And that's about even just going to an internet search and saying, solutions for the issue of gun control, solutions for the issue of abortion, and see what people are starting to say, what people are starting to offer as compromises. These have been conflicts. Most of your topics have been conflicts a really long time, and people are starting to explore resolutions to them. So I think doing another internet snapshot of this would be really smart for you to do as you try to pull together your conclusion. The conclusion is just like all of the body paragraphs you've written so far. They should look exactly like them: topic, sentence, 2 citations, and the Integrated Research Essay Guide will walk you through all of that. So that's going to be available by the end of the day, the Integrated Research Essay Guide. So it asks you to look at content, it asks you to make sure your pieces are there, it asks you to write the conclusion, and then it asks you to work on some of those transitions between essays. So as you end essay 1 and you begin essay 2, you wrote a conclusion and an intro. Well, we're gonna kind of fuse those together so that they're not repetitive, and you're still offering a transitionary paragraph, but it does the work of both the conclusion and the intro, so that you're cleaning up those moments between the essays so the essay works as a whole. And then the other big piece, obviously, in the guide, I would literally print the guide out as I'm working on my essay, the Integrated Research Instructions, because the next thing it just asks you to do a really, really good run through of things like checking all your in-text citations to make sure that they're right, making sure that your body paragraphs have 2 citations per paragraph, and topic sentences and analysis between quotes, things that we've been working on all semester. It reminds you that you need a works cited sheet, and the works cited sheet now should be reflective of all the sources you've used in all of your essays. So those all need to end up on one sheet of paper at the end of your essay. And if you've had 3 sources or more for each of your essays, it should be no problem to get to 9 or more sources on that works cited sheet. So you're going to put your sources together in one place. You're going to make sure that that's formatted correctly. Your works cited sheet is in alphabetical order. It's not numbered. It's indented the second line. So that's sort of the second piece of putting your research paper together. The first is making sure you've written everything that belongs there. And if you've written essays all along, you're going to find the writing into your document is pretty minimal. And then once the document's written, making sure the formatting, the in-text citations, the works cited sheet are all good to go. And also giving it probably a good run through for mechanics. And I think the best way to check your mechanics is, and I suggest this, is to bring it here on campus to a writing tutor, to read it out loud to someone, because sometimes you can't hear it when it's on the computer screen. I would really print this final essay out for yourself and make sure that you're looking at a hard copy of it. We can lose things all the time when we look at it on the computer screen. It can look perfect there, and then when you really sit with the document, you're looking at it and you're realizing there's errors. So I would suggest you print it out. I'd suggest you read it out loud to hear some of the mechanical errors that might be in there, or some sentences that sound awkward. You want to revise your document for that. It should be your best piece of writing too, not just your integrated research. It should be a good piece of composition. And this isn't the last time I'm going to talk to you, but I wanted to make sure that you had that available for you as we move into these final 2 weeks. The research essay will be due at the end of, not next week, but the Friday after. May 6th is the absolute, I think it's actually going to be due Thursday night at midnight, so you have up until that moment, because I do have to turn grades around really quickly right after that. So Thursday, May 5th at midnight, the entire research paper will be due. And that is, passing the research essay is how you pass the course. You've done so much work so far, but really you do need this culminating research essay in order to complete the class. So don't give up now. You all can do this. If you've stayed in the class this long, you absolutely can produce this product. So some of the tools are ready for that. I will check back in with you, but I kind of wanted to start steering you in that direction so that you can prioritize your time for the next 2 weeks. Like I said, you're going to revise essay 3. We're going to integrate the research essay. We're going to do one more big workshop with it. and then you're going to revise it and turn it in the following week. So I also wanted to say, if any of you want to come to campus and meet with me and have your paper in your hand and meet with me in my office, and we'll go over the fine-tooth comb it, absolutely. I have extended office hours through the next 2 weeks. I can be very flexible to be here when you are. We can talk over the phone if that's easier, but please use me as a resource, as like a physical resource that you can come in and actually we can look at your paper together. I'll give you comments like I have electronically, but take that extra time, if you have it, to sit down with me with your essay in my office, and you'd be amazed at how much we could talk about in 15 minutes that isn't translated online. So anyway, so look for that folder. It will be called like Final 2 Weeks of English 110. It will have the pieces that you need. It will have the integrated research essay instructions, and I also put 2 samples of, and I think I did that last week, but there are 2 student samples as to what one of these final products look like as well. So I would take a peek at that if you can. Okay, so feel free, email me, call me, find me if you have questions. I will of course be checking back in with you, but I just want to make sure you knew that those things were available and that we're hitting the home stretch and you're almost there and you're gonna finish fine. I have no doubt. All right, thanks everyone.